ще ми, браття, у своїй сторонці. Душу діло ми положимо за нашу свободу. Він покаже, що ми браття козацького роду. Діло ми положимо за нашу. А тепер Путін х**а! Путін х**а! Ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла! Путін х**а! Ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла! А тепер огонь! Огонь по х**нам кадыровским!
The Ukrainian armed forces are one of the most, if not the most, crucial pillars of the nation's security. At the heart of its defense are the elite soldiers of Ukraine's special forces. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into Ukraine's special forces and understand their role. This is the entire Ukrainian special forces explained in a nutshell. Take this information with a grain of salt. Due to the ongoing conflict, Ukraine's military structure is constantly evolving, with many units being dissolved or reorganized throughout the war. Because of these changes, some details may become outdated. If you find any mistakes, feel free to comment below. Also, I won't be covering everything, like the full structure of the military or former special forces units that have been dissolved, because that would be a bit much. Instead, we'll focus on the units that are active today. Even though we will only look into the special forces units, this video will be very long because there are a lot of special units. Due to the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia, Ukraine currently has a large number of special operations units. Because of this, the topic will be covered in two parts. Before we dive in, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps more than you might think. Now, YouTube doesn't seem to appreciate my family-friendly content. A lot of my videos end up age-restricted, so if you'd like to support the channel, feel free to make a donation. I don't have memberships or Patreon set up yet, so your support goes a long way. And yes, I've seen the comments. I know the text-to-speech voice isn't perfect, but hey, keep supporting the channel so that I can improve things over time. Keep in mind that the number of these units could change if the war ends. So depending on when you're watching this, the war might be over, or it might still be ongoing. That means this video could become outdated quickly, but as of now, these units are active, so let's take a look at them. In most countries, the military typically consists of three primary branches: the Army, Navy, and Air Force. Some nations, like the United States, also include branches like the Marine Corps, but for most, these three form the core of the armed forces. However, Ukraine, at the time of making this video, doesn't have just 3 or 4 branches. It has a total of 8 distinct military branches. These are ground forces, basically your standard army. Marine Corps, if you clicked on this video, I don't need to explain them to you. Navy, yes, they have ships. Air Force, they drop things. Air Assault Forces, a separate branch for airborne troops who jump out of planes to ruin someone's day. Territorial Defense Forces, the reserve forces of the Ukrainian military. Unmanned Systems Forces, a dedicated branch for those who operate drones. Could possibly be the worst thing if you're not on their side. And last but not least, Special Operations Forces, Ukraine's elite military branch dedicated to special operations. This is the one we'll be diving into in this video. Unlike most countries where special forces are sprinkled throughout different branches, Ukraine took a different approach, pulling these elite units together under one unified branch. The Special Operations Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Sili Specjalnych Operacji, or SSO, are headquartered in Kyiv and carry out a wide range of missions, including direct action, special reconnaissance, intelligence gathering, sabotage, and psychological operations. But keep in mind, they're not the only special forces operating in Ukraine. Alongside these branches, Ukraine also has several support forces that keep the entire military machine running. Support Forces, a combined service that includes engineers, CBRN defense, geospatial units, weather support, and even military dogs. Medical Forces provide essential medical care to troops in the field. Logistics Forces handle everything from supplies to maintenance, formed in 2018 to keep the war effort moving. Signals and cyber forces maintain communications, command systems, and defend Ukraine's cyber domain in both peace and wartime. After the start of the Crimea crisis and the war in Donbass, Ukraine realized its military structure needed some serious upgrades. In 2016, the Special Operations Forces, or SSO, were officially created as part of a sweeping reform of the armed forces following multiple failures in the early stages of the Donbass conflict. The branch was built around elite units from the Chief Directorate of Intelligence, or HUR, which themselves descended from Soviet GRU Spetsnaz units stationed in Ukraine during the USSR days. On January 5, 2016, all of Ukraine's special forces were brought together under one banner, forming a separate, independent military branch, the Special Operations Forces. Their official motto, Idu na vi, or I come at you, is borrowed from Sviatoslav the Brave, a medieval prince who apparently didn't believe in subtlety. Today, the SSO consists of multiple units, many of which have roots in other branches and a legacy that stretches back long before this branch officially existed. Now, under the SSO, there is the Special Operations Forces Command, the central military command for this branch. It oversees and coordinates all operations, logistics, training, and administrative functions of Ukraine's Special Operations Forces. Within this command, there are several specialized units, each with its own role. Recruitment Center of the SSO handles the selection and recruitment of personnel into Ukraine's special forces. 142nd Training Center, the main training facility for the Special Operations Forces. Its motto, Victory Loves Diligence. Enough said. 99th Headquarters and Support Battalion, established in 2016, this battalion is responsible for logistics, administrative operations, and rear support. It also provides limited combat support to frontline SOF units. 77th State Secrets Protection Center. As the name suggests, this unit protects classified information. Basically, they make sure nothing important leaks. 111th Information and Telecommunications Center provides communications and IT support for SOF operations. There's also the Intelligence and Information Center, which is in charge of intelligence gathering and operations for the Special Operations Forces. Given its role, the unit operates under a high level of secrecy, and very little is publicly known about it. I can't say for sure whether the unit is still active. Each of these plays a critical role in keeping the Special Operations Forces running smoothly, on and off the battlefield. Now let's get into the main Special Forces units under the SSO. These are the Special Purpose Combat Units, the ones that carry out actual special operations on the ground. The first, and one of the most prominent, is the Special Operations Center East, formerly known as the 3rd Separate Special Purpose Regiment. Before that, it was the 1st Separate Special Purpose Regiment. Yeah, lots of rebranding here. This unit has a long legacy. It was originally formed from the 10th Separate Brigade of Special Purpose under the Soviet GRU, and during its earlier years, it operated under the 4th Special Intelligence Service of Ukraine's Main Intelligence Directorate. In 2018, the regiment received a pretty epic honorary title in the name of Prince Sviatoslav the Brave, the ruler of 10th century Kievan Rus. Then, in 2022, it was reflagged as the Separate Special Operations Center East, and by decree of the President of Ukraine, the center was awarded the honorary award for courage and bravery. Well deserved. So today, its full name is Separate Special Operations Center East in the name of Prince Sviatoslav Horobroy. And yes, in Ukrainian, that's a mouthful. Окремий Центр спеціальних операцій Схід імені князя Святослава Хороброго. Yeah, good luck with that. Based in Kropivnitsky, this unit has been heavily involved in the Russo-Ukrainian War and has participated in several key battles. It's one of Ukraine's most active and decorated special forces units, like constantly in action. This unit is very involved in the Russo-Ukrainian War and has taken part in some major battles. Under Special Operations Center East, there are several tactical subunits known as Special Purpose Tactical Groups, each trained for direct action, raids, sabotage, and other special missions. 1st Special Purpose Tactical Group, 2nd Special Purpose Tactical Group, 3rd Special Purpose Tactical Group, 4th Special Purpose Tactical Group. And if that wasn't enough firepower, there are also Tactical Group Batyars, Ballista Unit Freedom Birds Group, Drone Unit Shersheny, In addition to the combat groups, the center also includes management and headquarters, fire support group, sniper platoon, scout platoon, intelligence company, security squad, communications unit, medical company. This is one of Ukraine's most battle-tested and capable special operations units. In other words, you don't want to be on the wrong side of them. The next unit in our story is one of Ukraine's most seasoned and battle-hardened special forces formations, the Special Operations Center West. But it didn't always go by that name. It began as the 8th Special Operations Brigade under the Red Army. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, the brigade was transferred to the control of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. In 2003, it was restructured into the 8th Separate Special Purpose Regiment. Then, in 2016, with the creation of Ukraine's Special Operations Forces, known as the SSO, this unit officially left the ground forces and joined the new elite command. In 2022, it was renamed the Special Operations Center West and given a title steeped in history, Prince Izyaslav Mstislavich. It was also awarded the Ukrainian Decoration for Courage and Bravery. Its full official name today? The Separate Special Operations Center West, named after Prince Izyaslav Mstislavich, or in Ukrainian, Окремий центр спеціальних операцій «Захід» імені князя Ізяслава Мстиславича. Based in Khmelnytsky, this unit has built a reputation for dedication and professionalism. And it's not just in Ukraine. Their experience spans international missions as well. In 2004, the regiment deployed to Wasit Governorate in Iraq as part of the US-led multinational coalition performing peacekeeping duties. They've also served under the United Nations in Sierra Leone and Liberia. Back home, they've been at the heart of Ukraine's fight for survival. From early combat in the Donbass War to the full-scale Russian invasion in 2022, this regiment has seen it all. They were heavily involved in the Battle of Bakhmut, one of the largest and bloodiest engagements of the war. And in 2024, they played a key role in defending against the Kharkiv offensive and later joined Ukraine's push during the Kursk offensive. Today, the Special Operations Center West is classified as one of the most combat-ready regiments in Ukraine. Its structure includes the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th Special Operations Detachment, and a dedicated drone squad and a communications squad. They also have a detachment called Ulf Hednar Team. Other than that, there is a regimental headquarters, a personnel security squad, intelligence company, a communication unit, and a medical company. From peacekeeping across continents to defending their homeland inch by inch, the warriors of the Special Operations Center West continue to write their legacy. The next unit is the 47th Special Purpose Detachment. Although detailed information about this unit is limited, it is confirmed to be currently operational. The detachment comprises direct action combat personnel, as well as a headquarters, administrative elements, and a commando platoon. It is based in the city of Zaporizhzhia. Next up is one of the most well-known units within the Ukrainian Special Operations Forces, the 140th Separate Special Operations Regiment. Also known as Special Operations Center North, this regiment is regarded as one of the most covert and secretive components of Ukraine's special operations community. It was established in 2007 from the 8th Special Purpose Regiment, which was restructured into the Special Operations Center West, a unit we have already mentioned, primarily tasked with conducting classified and high-risk covert operations. In 2019, the regiment underwent extensive training to integrate with the NATO response force. By June of that year, it was officially certified by NATO as a Special Operations Forces unit with the capability to deploy alongside NATO forces, making it the first non-NATO unit to receive such a designation. The certification was conducted in Lithuania. Due to the highly classified nature of its missions, the majority of the regiment's operations remain undisclosed to the public. Furthermore, the identities of its personnel are strictly protected. Only the names of those killed in action are released. Consequently, most of what is publicly known about the regiment comes from instances involving casualties. The 140th played a critical role during the war in Donbass. In 2022, it participated in the Kharkiv counteroffensive, contributing to the liberation of Izium and the defense of Chuhuiv. The following year, it saw heavy combat in Zaporizhzhia Oblast during Ukraine's counteroffensive. It was during this campaign that one of the regiment's group commanders was killed in action, a rare and somber insight into the unit's sacrifices. Internally, the regiment is organized into several operational detachments. The 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Special Operations Detachments form the backbone of its combat structure. There's also a specialized detachment known as the Termites Group. Its exact role remains classified, and a dedicated fire support group that provides essential battlefield backing during high-risk missions. In a war defined by both open battles and hidden operations, the 140th Regiment remains one of Ukraine's most vital warriors. We're far from done with Ukraine's special forces. In fact, we're only just getting started. The next entry isn't just a unit. It's an entire formation under the Special Operations Forces of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. Introducing the Ranger Corps, also known as the Ranger Corps of the Special Operations Forces. This is one of the newest, if not the newest, components of Ukraine's SSO, reportedly formed in 2024. Its primary mission? To operate deep behind enemy lines, conducting reconnaissance, sabotage, and disruption operations within hostile territory. Structurally, the Corps has its own separate command, and under it are several specialized regiments. The 4th Special Purpose Regiment, the 5th Special Purpose Regiment, the 6th Special Purpose Regiment, and the 7th Special Purpose Regiment. Each of these regiments is trained to NATO standards, and while detailed information about their internal organization or specific missions remains classified, we do know that the Corps has seen action. In 2024, the Ranger Corps took part in both the Kharkiv Offensive and the cross-border Kursk Offensive, two significant operations that demonstrated Ukraine's growing emphasis on rapid, deep penetration warfare. There are even reports suggesting that the Corps has its own dedicated tank company, though this detail remains unverified. Still, one thing is clear: the Ranger Corps represents a bold step in Ukraine's evolving special operations capability, new, modern, and built for unconventional warfare in the heart of enemy territory. Now, it's time to talk about the 73rd Naval Special Operations Center, also known as the Special Operations Center South. This is the Naval Special Forces unit within Ukraine's Special Operations Forces, or SSO. The unit traces its origins back to the Soviet era, when it began as the 17th Separate Special Purpose Brigade of the Soviet Navy. It was later reorganized into the 1464th Naval Reconnaissance Battalion. After the collapse of the Soviet Union on April 9, 1992, 2/3 of the officers and all enlisted personnel of the battalion pledged allegiance to Ukraine. That day, the unit became the 7th Separate Special Operations Brigade of the Ukrainian Navy. In 2010, it was again restructured and renamed the 73rd Naval Special Operations Center. Before the unit officially became part of Ukraine's Special Operations Forces in January 2016, it had already seen extensive combat. It was involved in several key operations during the war in Donbass, including the Battle of Ilovaisk in 2014, the Battle for Starobeshev, and the Battle of Debaltseve. It also conducted high-risk reconnaissance missions near the Vulahirska power station and was responsible for blowing up a dam near Svitlodarsk, along with several key bridges, to prevent enemy reinforcements from advancing. In 2015, the unit took part in the Battle for Chermalik. Even though they were a special operations unit, all of this happened before it officially became a part of the SSO in 2016. On December 6, 2019, the unit was awarded the honorary title Chieftain Antin Holovati, in honor of a legendary Ukrainian Cossack leader from the 18th century. During the full-scale Russian invasion in 2022, this regiment played a crucial role in the defense of Kolbakino Air Base, inflicting significant losses on Russian forces. It also participated in the Snake Island campaign, for which it received the honorary award for courage and bravery. And yes, for the viewers, that's Snake Island, where Ukrainian border guard Roman Hrabov defiantly said that now iconic line to a Russian warship.
Предлагаю сложить оружие, сдаться, иначе по вам будет нанесен удар. Как поняли меня? Прием! Русский военный корабль, иди нахуй!
The 73rd Naval Special Operations Center also took part in the defense of Mariupol, fought across Kherson Oblast, and was heavily involved in Ukraine's counteroffensive operations. As the only Naval Special Forces unit within the Ukrainian SSO, this regiment handles all maritime tasks, including operations in support of the Ukrainian Navy and Marine Corps. Its operators are trained in a wide range of maritime special operations: special reconnaissance, commando-style raids, irregular warfare, long-range penetration, underwater demolition, diving operations, maritime sabotage, counterterrorism, and hostage rescue. The structure of this unit is not well known, but there are a few components such as 1st Special Operations Task Group 131 Team, Davy Jones Team, Sierra Team. This is one of Ukraine's most battle-hardened special forces units. The unit's emblem features a seahorse holding the sword of Sviatoslav the Brave over a shield split into blue and black. The blue represents its naval heritage, while the black symbolizes its ghost-like presence on the battlefield. The seahorse reflects stealth, adaptability, and maritime expertise, while the sword of Sviatoslav stands for bravery, military tradition, and unyielding resolve. Now let's take a look at another unit. The 144th Special Operations Forces Center, also known as the 144th Separate Center for Fire Support of Special Operations Forces, is a relatively new formation. Since its establishment in 2023, the center has been actively involved in combat operations along nearly the entire front line, from Kherson and Zaporizhia to Donetsk, Kharkiv, and even into the Kursk region. Its primary role is to provide direct fire support and operational assistance to other units of the Ukrainian military engaged in combat. Then there's the separate Special Tactical Group Irpin, which currently operates under the command of the Special Operations Forces and is based in Irpin, Kiev Oblast. But to be honest, I have some confusion around this unit. In several sources, I found references to a similarly named formation, the Irpin Company Tactical Group, a Ukrainian volunteer unit that's part of the 243rd Tactical Brigade under the 144th Territorial Defense Brigade. This group falls under the Territorial Defense Forces, which serve as the reserve component of the armed forces of Ukraine. Now, it's possible that the unit originally operated under the Territorial Defense and was later transferred to the Special Operations Forces. That kind of restructuring isn't unheard of. But as of now, I can't confirm whether the Irpin unit under the SSO is the same one or a different formation entirely. The Special Operations Forces of the Ukrainian Armed Forces are not solely responsible for direct action missions or traditional combat operations. Under the SSO, there are units that specialize in roles beyond the battlefield. Among them are several key units dedicated to psychological and informational warfare. The 16th Center of Information and Psychological Warfare monitors the socio-political climate in regions bordering Ukraine, specifically in Russia, Belarus, Poland, Hungary, Romania, and Moldova. Its primary task is to help shape public opinion in those areas in a manner that supports Ukrainian interests. The 72nd Center of Information and Psychological Warfare was established in 2004 under the Ukrainian Navy by veterans of military intelligence. Its initial mission was to detect and prevent information and psychological threats directed at the Navy and to provide analytical support to Navy headquarters. In 2018, after the Battle of Kashm in Syria, Russian officials accused this unit of spreading anti-Russian propaganda by inflating reports of Russian casualties. Today, the 72nd operates under the SSO and is actively engaged in psychological operations during the ongoing war with Russia. The 74th Center of Information and Psychological Warfare, operational since at least 2012, focuses on collecting intelligence, distributing propaganda, and crafting responses to unfolding political events. It plays a central role in the broader information war between NATO and Russia, particularly in the context of the conflict in southeastern Ukraine. The 83rd Center of Information and Psychological Warfare was also founded in 2004, originally as a unit under the Southern Operational Command, responsible for foreign language publications. It was later absorbed into the SSO. Its tasks are far-reaching and include reconnaissance, subversive activities, counterintelligence, identifying potential domestic threats through internet monitoring, and executing disinformation campaigns. The center engages in psychological pressure tactics, spreads fake content, and seeks to demoralize both enemy troops and civilian populations in conflict zones. While these units may not fit the traditional image of special forces, their role is vital. They form the backbone of Ukraine's psychological and information warfare efforts. Their operations are not only guided by the broader regulations of the SSO, but also by Ukraine's Information Security Doctrine, a national policy approved by presidential decree. We've covered both the combat and non-combat units under Ukraine's Special Operations Forces. You might think we're done, but we're far from it. What comes next is one of the most unique and intriguing components of Ukraine's Special Operations community. Meet the Rukh Oporu, Ukrainian for Resistance Movement. It's a corps, similar in concept to the Ranger Corps, and it operates under the Special Operations Forces of Ukraine. Its role is highly specialized: to organize, train, fund, equip, and coordinate the Ukrainian resistance inside Russian-occupied territories. This corps doesn't just support resistance efforts, it actively takes part in them, using sabotage, psychological warfare, and both direct and indirect tactics to disrupt Russian operations and undermine the morale of occupying forces. The resistance movement began in the shadows. It was covertly formed in 2014, following Russia's occupation of Crimea. But it wasn't until 2021 that it was officially recognized under Ukraine's law on the foundations of national resistance. The corps brought together partisans, underground cells, and auxiliary forces into one unified effort. When Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, this corps became the backbone of resistance efforts in the occupied regions. One of its most notable achievements is the creation of the Yellow Ribbon Movement in April 2022. This grassroots resistance effort, active in Russian-held territories, has been at the forefront of nonviolent defiance and symbolic protest against the occupation. Estimates suggest the corps has grown to several thousand members, but the exact number remains classified. In fact, much about this organization is shrouded in secrecy. The names of operatives, the details of missions, and even the identity of the commanders are all kept under wraps. Even the families of its personnel are left in the dark about their loved ones' missions. The Corps' responsibilities are broad and critical. They include establishing and training partisan and resistance groups, providing funding and equipment for underground operations, disrupting Russian logistics and military activity through sabotage, preparing ordinary citizens for resistance, conducting cyber operations, supporting nonviolent resistance efforts, and of course, when needed, they carry out special operations and covert missions, including those that take place within Russia's own borders. What we do know about this corps is that, like any well-structured military organization, it operates under a centralized leadership known as the Rukh Oporu Command, which oversees and coordinates all of its operations. One of the most significant branches under this command is the National Resistance Center, officially known as the Center of National Resistance of Ukraine. It was created in March 2022, shortly after the start of Russia's full-scale invasion. As part of Ukraine's Special Operations Forces, the National Resistance Center plays a crucial role in organizing and training civilian resistance across occupied territories. It prepares citizens for both nonviolent and active resistance, supports underground movements, and coordinates efforts to undermine Russian control. Its mission is not just military, it's psychological, cultural, and deeply rooted in national survival. The center is structured into 5 regional battalion-level units: Kharkiv Resistance Center, Khmelnytsky Resistance Center, Kiev Resistance Center, Alexandria Resistance Center, Zakarpattia Resistance Center. Each operates as a local hub for resistance coordination, training, and civilian mobilization. In addition to the National Resistance Center, the Rukh Oporu Command also controls 2 specialized units: Rukh Oporu Special Purpose Center East. Under Special Purpose Center East, there's a particularly notable unit, the Company Tactical Group Steppe Wolves. This volunteer force was formed by Ukrainian civilians, many of whom were considered too old or physically unfit for conscription. Despite that, they organized themselves into a disciplined unit and joined the resistance effort under the Special Operations Forces. Separate from all of this and operating in a category of its own is Tactical Group Rukh. Rukh is one of the most elite and secretive special forces units in Ukraine. It is not part of the Special Purpose Centers or the National Resistance Center. While subordinated to Rukh Oporu, Kruk functions directly under the operational command of Ukraine's Special Operations Forces. It was quietly established in 2022 following the Russian invasion, and its operations remain completely classified. No public information has ever been released about its missions, personnel, or structure. What is known is that Kruk is active on the front lines, and possibly beyond them, carrying out the most sensitive and high-risk operations in Ukraine's ongoing war for survival. We've finally covered all the Special Operations Forces that fall under Ukraine's Special Operations Forces Command. But we're not done just yet. What we've finished is only the SSO, the Special Operations Forces that are officially part of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. However, there are other elite units in Ukraine that don't fall under the SSO, but are still classified as Special Forces or Spetsnaz units. Aside from the armed forces and their various branches, there's also the Military Service of Law and Order, better known as the Military Police. This is a separate organization within the Ukrainian military, also under the Ministry of Defense. It's a specialized law enforcement body tasked with maintaining discipline, ensuring public order within the military, and investigating crimes committed by service members. On March 7th, 2002, the Military Law and Order Service in the Armed Forces of Ukraine was officially established under Ukrainian law. The military police has its own command, its own training center, and several regional administrative centers. It also oversees the 307th Disciplinary Battalion, a unit where military personnel can serve detention sentences. Its goal is to rehabilitate and prevent repeat offenses within the ranks. But we're not here to talk about that, because yes, you guessed it, they also have their own special forces. The first one worth mentioning is the 138th Special Operations Center, named after Prince Vladimir Sviatoslavich. And if you're still wondering, yeah, they love naming distinguished units after historic figures over there. This unit was established in 2006, with its main role being to counter sabotage and terrorist threats at critical military and state facilities. It also supports other law enforcement agencies when needed. In 2021, the unit was officially given the honorary title named after Prince Vladimir Sviatoslavich, also known as Vladimir the Great, who was Grand Prince of Kiev from 979 to 1015. After Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022, one of the center's new key responsibilities became protecting the advanced Western military equipment supplied to Ukraine by its allies. Also in 2022, President Volodymyr Zelensky awarded the unit the honorary distinction for courage and bravery. Other than the 138th, there's also another unit under the military police, the 17th Special Purpose Center. And that's pretty much all we know. Seriously, there's almost no official information out there about this unit. I only know it exists because I've come across its unit patch and spotted a few mentions, along with some videos circulating in the far corners of Ukrainian Facebook pages. That's it. Now you have a basic understanding of the special forces within the Ukrainian armed forces. These units are deeply involved in the ongoing conflict, carrying out missions that most people will never hear about. As I've mentioned before, and it's worth repeating, the structure of the armed forces is constantly evolving because of the war. New units can be created, and existing ones might be reorganized or disbanded. The Special Forces are no exception. That means this video could become outdated faster than you'd expect. In fact, it might have already happened. I could be wrong, but while making this video, there's a chance another unit was added under the SSO. We've covered the official special units of the Ukrainian armed forces, but we're not done yet. Some of the most elite and secretive formations are still left to cover, units that operate within Ukraine's broader special operations structure. We'll dive into those in part 2 of this video. If you're not already seeing the next part on your screen, be patient. It'll be up soon. If you like my work, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps me get closer to reaching 10,000 subscribers. I hope you learned something today, and I'll see you next time.